Okay. All right. Now that we have everything is dried, the tiles have been glued on. The glue has taken a couple of days and is dried out thoroughly. We're now going to take the grout, and we're going to grout the joints. Grout, when you buy it in a store, it always comes as a powder, as a very, very fine powder. So what I always do is I always use a disposable type container, because I don't have to worry about cleaning it out afterwards. Once I'm finished with it, I can just throw it away. Now, we tried to match the grout the best we possibly could to what the existing floor was, and as you can see, it's a pretty good match. This is a piece that came out, and this is the grout that we purchased to put in there. If you're going to try to match it exactly, you want to make sure the grout has thoroughly dried out so that you know that the color is the same, because as you can see, there is a difference when it's wet and when it's dry. So that's why we had this dry out, so we made sure it's a good match, which it is. So we're just going to put that off to the side. The grout now, you want to mix the grout, you don't want to make it too watery. You want to make it so that it's the consistency of like peanut butter or something thick like that. You don't want it too thin. So as you can see, it's actually mixed pretty well right now. We do after we get it mixed to the consistency that we want, we leave it sit for a minute or two, just so that it actually, everything is thoroughly mixed. All right? But you're going to need to put it in a tight area like this. It's difficult to get in there and put the grout in between these joints right here, because as you can see, it's up underneath the cabinet here. Normally you would take something like this float, and you would take the grout, if you were doing a floor, and you would take it and you would push it into the joints like this. But underneath here, as you can see, it's just impossible. You can't really do that. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to take a spackle knife or something small like this. We're going to take some grout on the end of it like this, and you just push it into the joints just like that. Now when you put the grout into the joints, you want to push on the spackle knife a little bit to make sure that the grout gets all the way in to the whole joint itself. Alright, so we just push it into all the joints like that. Now after we put the spackle inside, after we put the grout into the joints between the tiles, we're going to continue down the whole length of it, and we're going to get all the grout in where it belongs. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a bucket, we're going to put some water in it, we're going to use a sponge, we're going to have a damp sponge, and we're going to come in here and clean off all the excess grout that's underneath here. And then we're going to need a rag, probably something that you're going to be throwing away, and we'll clean off all of the grout that's on the tile itself. So let me finish grouting each joint here, and then we'll come back and we'll continue with this. So, all right, we're going to continue. Okay, so now after we have the joints grouted and we let it dry for a short period of time, we're going to come in here with a damp sponge now, and we're going to wipe off all of that excess that you see on the tile on the bottom here and up on the top here. We're going to wipe off all that excess there, and that way we'll let it be nice and clean, and then we can let it set up. So, all right, so let's do that. Okay, so normally there's a much bigger sponge that we use, but you remember this is a very tight area. We can't get in there so good. So we're just going to use a regular household sponge, and we're just going to clean up all of the excess grout that's on the tile here. We're going to clean that all up. Okay, now I'm not going to bore you with how to clean up the rest of it, but now you can see how the joints are all nice and cleaned. All of the grout material is out of there. We'll continue over here, and then we'll get this all wrapped up. Now we will rinse out the bucket. Okay, we will rinse out that bucket. We'll get some clean water in there. I will tell you this, don't dump this stuff down your drain because it's cement and you'll definitely have an issue. Make sure you throw it out someplace where it's not going to cause a problem. All right, so we're going to get some fresh water in here. We're going to come in one more time. We're going to wipe it down. Then we're going to let it dry thoroughly until it's almost totally dried, which is just a couple of hours. And then we're going to come in with a cloth and we're going to buff off any of the excess grout or cement that's left on the tile. But that's it, you're all done. Okay, after the grout has dried, usually a couple of days to a week, you would get in there with a sealer, and they make it specifically for grout. It's a grout sealer. You paint it on with a paintbrush. It soaks into the pores of the grout, and it keeps any kind of moisture or dirt or any other, like if you're washing the floor or whatever, it keeps the dirt and the water from getting through the grout joint. All right, that's a very important part of the job, so make sure you do it. But that's it, you're all done. All right, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.